Welcome everyone. I'm Margie Graff. I'm the President and CEO of the Rockville Chamber of Commerce, and I'm thrilled and delighted that we can bring you our virtual presentation of the 31st Annual Rockville Public Safety Awards. The Rockville Public Safety Awards is held in cooperation with the City of Rockville and the Rockville Chamber of Commerce to honor members of the Rockville City Police Department, Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, Montgomery County Department of Correction and Rehabilitation, and the Rockville Volunteer Fire Department, as well as civilians who have contributed to the safety of our community. The program is sponsored by these community service clubs of Rockville, the Rockville Kiwanis Club and the Rockville Rotary Club. And we would like to thank our corporate sponsors, Pepco, Westat, Morris Studio, and Comfort Care. I would now like to turn the program over to Judy Cruz, media consultant and executive editor of the Greater Olney News.
Welcome to the 31st Annual Rockville Public Safety Awards. We are happy to have the commanders of the 4 public safety organizations with us today, as well as guests, and we thank you all for being here. With us are Montgomery County Sheriff Darren Hopkin, Chief Victor Brito, and Deputy Chief Laura Lanham from the Rockville City Police Department, Chief Jim Vagonis, and President Eric Bernard from the Rockville Volunteer Fire Department, and Director Angela Talley from the Montgomery County Office of Correction and Rehabilitation. We thank everyone again for being here, and I welcome to the podium Chief Jim Vagonis from the Rockville Volunteer Fire Department.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. I'd also like to take a minute to thank the Rockville Chamber and the committee of individuals that put this event together for us. It's an incredible opportunity for me to recognize some of the members of the Rockville Volunteer Fire Department today. There are so many that do so much for the department. It's very difficult sometimes to recognize just a few. I have a few here we're going to recognize for a couple different events that took place back in 2019. Thank you, family, for being here, friends for being here to support them. At this time, I'm going to introduce Captain Paramedic Ray Whalen. He's going to present our awards to our individuals. Thank you.
Good morning. For our first award, I'd like to have Arash Kamali, Christopher Halleck, and Lucas Bastien come forward. The life of a volunteer at the Rockville Volunteer Fire Department is both rewarding and demanding. All riding volunteers have a minimum standby or on-duty requirement of 600 hours per year in addition to extensive training. In 2019, RVFD volunteers provided area residents with over 111,000 hours of staffing. It is not unusual for some volunteers to go beyond the minimum and give over 1,000 hours per year. And as admirable as that is, there are some that go well beyond the call of duty when serving their community. The following RVFD personnel had the most standby hours in 2019. Firefighter Rescuer 2 Arash Kamali, 3,207 hours. Master Firefighter Christopher Halleck, 3,364 hours. And Master Firefighter Lucas Bastien, 3,899 hours. They are awarded the Meritorious Service Citation for their efforts to serve the community well beyond what is expected of them. Our next award is a unit citation, and I'd like to call forward whoever is here. Lieutenant Robert Cousins, EMS Provider 2, Allison Griner, Paramedic Intern Razan Humeda from the Wheaton Volunteer Rescue Squad, Master Firefighter Lucas Bastien, EMS Provider 2, Alexander Markinson, Master Attendant 2, Dylan Leonard, Master Firefighter Christopher Halleck, Firefighter Alan Pankoff, Firefighter 3, Mark Livingstone, Firefighter 2, Paramedic Joshua Cook from Montgomery County Fire and Rescue. On Monday, April 1st, 2019, units from the Rockville Volunteer Fire Department Station 3 were dispatched on a call for a person having difficulty breathing. The patient was a 21-year-old man suffering from kidney failure. He was found with agonal respirations, struggling to breathe, and subsequently went into cardiac arrest while fire and rescue personnel were on the scene. The Station 3 crews, both volunteer and career, successfully resuscitated the patient on the scene and transported him to Shady Grove Adventist Hospital for further treatment. Approximately 3 weeks later, the patient was discharged from the hospital and returned home. He is fully recovered. The quick and efficient actions of the personnel on that incident saved the man's life. For the collective efforts of the personnel, the dedication to their training, and their commitment to the residents of the community they serve, the members of the Rockville Volunteer Fire Department, Montgomery County Fire and Rescue Services, and the Wheaton Volunteer Rescue Squad are receiving a unit citation for distinguished service. Our final award is another unit citation. So all those who are present, please come forward. Lieutenant Alex Cedarbaum, Master Firefighter Brian Roidas, Montgomery County Fire and Rescue Services. Master Firefighter Jesse Kelleher, Montgomery County Fire and Rescue Services. Paramedic Johnny Singh. EMS Provider 2, Eric Damtoff. EMS Provider 2, Alex Jin. Firefighter 2, Christopher Price, Montgomery County Fire and Rescue Service. On Thursday, August 22nd, 2019, while returning to Station 3, the crew of Rescue Squad 703 came across a Metro Transit police officer attempting to detain a person in the 900 block of Hungerford Drive. The crew saw that the lone officer was fighting with the person in the middle of the road. The crew also saw that the person was on top of the officer and had been able to remove the officer's taser and was attempting to stun the officer while simultaneously punching the officer in the head. Recognizing the peril the officer was in, the crew of Rescue Squad 703 stopped their unit to block traffic and, at great risk to themselves, removed the man from the officer without they or the officer being stunned by the weapon or without further injury to the officer. The crew then assisted the Metro Transit police officer, whose backup had still not arrived, to detain and handcuff the man. During the scuffle, the officer sustained several cuts and contusions above his left eye. The crew of Rescue Squad 703 requested an EMS transport unit and immediately treated not only the officer's injuries, but also the then detained man's injuries, who had also sustained injuries. Medic 703 arrived to further evaluate and treat the injuries. Ultimately, both the man and the officer were transported to the hospital for a more detailed evaluation of their injuries. If not for the collective efforts of the crew of Rescue Squad 703, the awareness they displayed, and the personal risks they took upon themselves, the outcome of the incident could have resulted in serious injury or death to the officer. The members of this crew are recognized for their bravery and professionalism with a unit citation for distinguished service.
And on behalf of the Rockville Volunteer Fire Department, we'd like to thank our partners with the Rockville Chamber, the Rockville City Police Department, Corrections, our wonderful sheriff and staff for being partners in public safety. The women and men that you just saw receive awards from the Rockville Volunteer Fire Department work in combination with the Montgomery County Fire and Rescue Service. Volunteer and career professionals working side by side. The members of the Rockville Volunteer Fire Department receive no pay. They receive no compensation. They all have other jobs, functions, and lives outside of the fire department. You saw some members volunteering more, twice as much, than most people work in their full-time profession. That just shows the dedication we have here at the Rockville Volunteer Fire Department. And starting January 1st, 2021, the Rockville Volunteer Fire Department will start celebrating its centennial. 100 continuous years of volunteer service here in the city. Now, sadly, due to the pandemic, we have to postpone our celebrations to 2022. But nonetheless, it is 100 years of volunteer service. We thank all the women and men, volunteers, as well as our partners in the Montgomery County Fire and Rescue Service for working together to help save lives and property. Thank you.